who knows what struggles and challenges are necessary to get to the place you need to be. You can't protect someone from their struggles, or else they don't learn their lessons. They don't grow in the way that they need to grow. Vesper says, my friends and I were just talking last night about when we feel the most vulnerable. For me, it's when I am setting boundaries for myself or asking something of someone else. It just feels so risky to me, and it continues to be a challenge to my honest communication. That is a classroom that is best taken on in partnership to show that vulnerability and hopefully get supported and encouraged and say, hey, this is hard for me to say, or I'm a little worried here, or I'm scared to say this, and then to kind of like learn that your fears are overblown. And ideally have the other person say, I am so grateful that you are trusting me with this vulnerability. I'm so grateful. I'm so appreciative that the actual issue that you're asking about is less important than the trust of the honest communication. And if you can actually communicate that to one another, it makes it so much easier to deal with anything, because you're both clear that all the issues themselves is just the practicum to get to the trust. And so if we have an opportunity to practice being honest and authentic, then whatever outcome of whatever desired opinion is secondary to the feeling of trust that is built. Scott says, I think people who strive to be loving and caring are sometimes afraid to tell the truth because there's a fear of hurting people's feelings. Absolutely. Yes. Which is reasonable. And it is also, if you can pull back and look at it, it's also, it is creating separation because you are not allowing the other person to know the truth. So they are then trying to evaluate the relationship with you. They're making decisions based on what they think is the truth, and you are giving them what you think they want to hear. And while it might avoid short-term conflict, it does not allow for true trust. To true trust, you have to be okay with having somebody not happy in the short term. One of the best advice I ever got within open relationships, but it relates to everything, is you have to get comfortable saying things that people don't want to hear. Woo! So in that context, it'd be like, okay, let's say I went on a date with someone other than my primary partner, and they said, how was the date? My tendency is to say, it was all right. Like, I don't have as much fun as I have with you, no matter what, even if I had a great time. Now, my thought is that's what they want to hear. That'll make them feel better. But in doing so, I have now created a lie and this falsehood, and this has separated my truth versus the reality that I am presenting to them. Whereas if I said, oh, we had a great time. We have so much in common. We both love pink so much. And my primary might be like insecure, and it might trigger them. Hopefully, ideally, short term, they then, as they get through that, they recognize, wait, no, we have a super deep bond. This momentary, joyful experience that my partner had does not devalue my connection with them. And in fact, the fact that they trusted me to tell me their joy with this other person is proof and evidence of the depth of our connection and the honesty that we have. So in time, I build a super powerful, divine connection with the person that is willing to risk my disappointment, my jealousy, my frustration. Woo! That is advanced level communication, though. Danielle says, woo! That is such a huge lesson for me, telling the truth instead of what I think they want to hear, especially in the context of open relating, which ironically requires a lot of this. Exactly. The amount of growth that can happen when you have a person that is consenting and mutual consent to vulnerably connect with a fellow human being, which, meaning saying, look, we both understand that traditional old school dating relationships is, you're trying to play the part and do the thing that you think the other person wants, and you're trying to like court them, and like, no, we agree that we are each divine expressions, and therefore we are perfect, and therefore we need to learn to trust one another to expose and share our divine authenticity. And even if your truth is not my script of what I think you should be, that is my opportunity to do work on my expectations and my scripts. It is not anything that is wrong with you. And I'm allowing you to have that practice of trusting me. And we both are like recognizing that this is not an easy task. And yet if we pull back into our intellectual brains, we know it is insane to think someone's truth is anything but perfect. So let's practice getting through whatever triggers come up as we are exposed to someone's authentic truth that we might not be ready for in the moment. And let's trust that the other person can get triggered and get through it. That's the hard thing for me, is like, if someone does get by something you say, something you do, some thought or decision, I don't want to do that, I do want to do that, and they go, what? Like, you can't attach too much to the reaction. What you have to say is, I'm not going to register. I'm not going to, nothing gets written down in pen as far as what you did or what, until you get through your process. On the other side of it, what you feel and think and react, that's the aspect of you that I need to attach my meaning to it. So whatever momentary freak out is part of the process and is forgiven. The danger comes when your mind goes, oh, they freaked out when I said that last time. No, they didn't stay freaked out. You helped them to go through the process, and they got to the other side. And on the other side, everyone is at a level of connection that is impossible to reach if you are crafting your truth for one another. Super graduate level stuff, but that's how relationships can be the most significant classroom of our lives.